some of the big AAA titles, they can be sort of production line mentality, where you're just cranking stuff out. So I actually think you're probably going to develop your skills better if you're in a smaller development house, provided there's enough stability. That's, I think, the trade-off that you have.
This Marquee Dragon video is sponsored by Shattered Crystal, game codes, and items.
Hello, I'm Marcus Eichenberry from MarqueeDragon.com, and I'm at the Login Conference today, and I got Damon Slye again. And I've been getting a lot of questions about, well, from like parents that say, my son or daughter is really interested in a career in developing games. And I thought you'd be a good person to ask because you've been on both sides of that, I think. And so what's it like for, let's not talk about superstar game developers, let's talk about the average person. What are the struggles with that? What's it going to be like?
Well, it sort of, I think, depends a lot on the kind of company you go into. So when you're starting out, as a game developer, you're going to have to take certain opportunities that arise for you, and so you don't have as much choice. But you got to get that first job, first thing in there, and you got to kind of prove yourself for a little while. But at its best, I would say game development is fantastic because you're collaborating with other creative people, and you're building something that you believe in. And I think there's a kind of joy that comes out of working with other people that doesn't exist as much with just doing your own thing by yourself. So,
collaboration. You get so much more done.
Yeah,
so much more accomplished.
Absolutely.
But, so, isn't it? Like, I don't know what it is to be a programmer or whatnot. I'm not built that way.
Yeah.
I don't think that way. But I see a lot of my friends who are in the industry who every year and a half or so, like, oh, that job's done, looking for another one.
Yeah.
Some of them were really good, land stuff right away. The others kind of wander. And it's like being an actor.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. I know there's a lot of turnover. I think if you can get a company that's stable and you like it, I would say stick with it for a while. But
But doesn't when a project ends, they don't automatically have more work for you?
Not automatically, and that depends on the stability of the developer or the publisher. Yeah, there's a lot of turnover and stuff, but I guess the work environment is to me is a big thing, and it's the overtime at some companies you want to stay away from.
It's insane amounts of overtime. Yeah, I won't mention any names.
Yeah, no, we know the stories.
Just Google it.
Grind, yeah. Some of the big AAA titles, they can be sort of production line mentality, where you're just cranking stuff out. So I actually think you're probably going to develop your skills better if you're in a smaller development house. Provided there's enough stability. That's, I think, the trade-off that you have. So. Yeah.
So would you say that that the stability is a trade-off for like salary range, or, I mean, it's like teaching at a public school or going to teach at a private school. At the private school, you teach for peanuts.
Yeah.
At the public school, it's still peanuts. They're just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think so. You're going to have more stability, tend to have more stability at a bigger company. I mean, it's not an absolute. You see the layoffs at some of the big AAA publishers, but the more, if you get into a really small development house and they're very entrepreneurial, you got a bigger upside, so I think you kind of want to know where you're at in life and what's the level of risk that you're willing to assume. I tend to want a lot of risk in my life because I like the dream of the future.
Entrepreneurs tend to be risk takers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But for a lot of people, that doesn't work. They want stability. They've got a family. They want to just not have to worry about that stuff. So if you are going to start your own company or go in with some friends and start a company, just be aware that there's going to be some tough times for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But it can be worth it.
I remember the years of work that I did that just in my own companies where I remember one year, I think my wage came out to like $13,000 at the end of the year, and I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't until, you know, we were filling out taxes that I realized how much I had really made, or lack of how much I had really made.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. But, you know, the flip side is you get all that experience and everything, and you know, if you're an employee somewhere, you gain all this experience and you become more valuable to each company and everything.
Yeah.
So what's probably, okay, so let's say somebody's going to college right now at some game design school, and what do you think is the most important thing that they need to pick up or that they need to do right after they get out of college to get on a good track?
I would say before they graduate, do an internship or do as many internships as possible. Network. Go to conferences like Login. And
Login?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Definitely, because people that stay connected to the industry are going to have a lot more opportunities in their career, as opposed to just, you know, going online and doing job searches.
And there's a lot of students here.
Yeah.
That are here right now, and most all of them are volunteers. And so that's how they're paying to get in. I mean, they're working, you know, 6 or 8 hours out of the day on stuff, guarding a door, you know, not letting certain people through or whatever. But in exchange, they're here meeting everybody, and you get access to the parties at night. You get, all this stuff. And the parties, by the way, are where half the business happens.
That's true.
Yeah. And so yeah, definitely. I consider volunteering at something like this.
Yeah, you get the exposure, and in fact, one of the newest employees at Matt Otter was an intern, and so she came in as an intern, and she did a great job, and she's also volunteering at Login right now, and she has a lot of initiative that way in terms of being able to go out.
Yeah, and being an intern, it allows the company to get a look at you as well. Did she graduate and you made her an offer?
Yep.
Or she's,
It was like, okay, she's doing a great job.
Yeah,
Why don't you
absolutely.
come to work for us. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, okay, well, I really appreciate your time, Damon.
Great.
And it's Matt Otter Games,
Matt
right?
Otter Games.
MattOtterGames.com?
Yes, that's us.
Okay, well, go check them out.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
It started out on a Friday night. The sentimental tales you told was just bringing me back to you.